Hi, I'm Jamie. Welcome to this session. Today we're going to share a little look at stretching. Some exercises that can help us stretch, improve our flexibility and our range of movement. Okay, so stretching, why is it important? Well, of course, if you're doing like full sporting activities, really going for it in the sporting realm, then stretching is going to keep you away from injury and also help you improve your performance. But what about just from day-to-day life? And I'm not even talking about your day-to-day yoga or your day-to-day Pilates. I'm talking about just life in general. Well, stretching can help you feel less pain, less aches, less tensions, keep us feeling healthier, improve our posture, which in turn helps all our internal organs function better. So that is going to make life feel better, feel more efficient, and just feel nicer to be, right? So I'm going to share some stretches with you right now that are going to help us feel all of that. They're really simple, really gentle, great ways of moving away from pain or avoiding pain in the first place, okay? So many of us have stretching that we incorporate into our lives. I used to have this when I was younger and I did my sport. I was given stretches to do that were specific to that sport. And the problem was they didn't give me a balanced stretch through the whole of my body. They would be very specific to certain movement patterns or certain activities, right? So it's important to find that balance. And another thing that's nice to do, and it saves on time as well, is to see stretching as a whole body activity. So you stretch a bunch of muscles all at the same time. And it's not just stretching, we're also looking beyond flexibility at mobility and range of movement. You can even throw a little bit of strength stuff in there too. All right, so let's start on the mat and take it from there. Okay, so think about areas where we might feel some pain or aches and strains. Now, one of the key areas that people complain about is the lower back and around the hips. So let's begin with a really nice stretch for that. And I'm going to give you two variations on this. So the first one is a very common one that we know called the child's pose. All right, so I like to do it with my thighs a little closer together and stretch my back a little more, but for some of us we like to separate the knees a little and create a little more space. So you choose what's right for you. And then we'll round over and take your head towards the mat. You can stretch your arms out if that feels good. And then, like I said, we're doing multiple things at once. So like right here, I'm stretching my back, but also my shoulders. If that's too much, you can bring your hands down by the side of your legs. Really melt into it. Here, just breathe. You can close your eyes. Just go within and just breathe and soften and let the back just get a nice stretch out. Of course, for all of us, that's not necessarily available. Might have tight knees or other reasons that you can't get the head to the floor, in which case make a fist or two fists or use pillows and blocks and just rest your head here. And my lower back is still getting that stretch and I'm getting the opportunity to just melt into that moment. Another way of approaching that, which I really like as well, if you've got sore knees, for example, is to simply come onto your back. And instead of doing your child's pose on the floor, you do the inverted version, which is just hugging the knees into your body. And if you want, you can bring your head up, or you can rest your head down and just have a little rock from side to side. And that gives a very gentle massage of the lower back. Just there. Just breathe in. And that's going to feel great. So you've got two options for your child's pose there. Upside down or the correct way up. So while we're here on our backs, another great movement that I like to incorporate. I do this actually a lot before I do sessions with people. It's a bit of our warm-up, right? But it's a really good mobilizer for the hip joint, okay? And it works from that range of movement. You can do it one leg at a time or both together, but it's a passive movement for the legs. And instead, my arms are going to do the work. And I'm just stirring my femur bones in the hip joint like a big spoon in a big pot of porridge. So we're stirring those around. And you can work through whatever range of movement feels available to you. And that can change from day to day or from repetition to repetition. It's all good. Just go where you can. I'm just stirring my hips here. I'll do this again. Just my arms are doing the work. My legs are going along for the ride, okay? When I come in here, that might feel a little bit tight. If it feels really tight in your hip, go one leg at a time. And you can almost like push into the hip crease with your thumb if you want. That can really just help massage that area and increase your range of movement as you do that. Let's do the same on the other side. Just move the leg around. All right, and then of course we've got to reverse the circles and go back the other way. And this is like WD-40, it's like a little spray can of oil into the joint and makes the joint feel all nicely lubricated and ready. It's really, really good for the first thing in the morning. And that keeps pain away from the hips and relieves tension. And then finish just by hugging them in, or if you want, by stretching your legs out. Okay, so if we stretch our legs out, another great stretch, this is good for bringing breath into the side of the ribs and opening up your rib cage, which can be really great for helping us breathe deeper, is the half banana stretch. It comes by various names, but that's the one that stuck with me. I quite like that. So we start by just reaching up, and then take one wrist with the other hand, and you're going to give it a gentle pull across to the other side of the body. You can do this standing as well, but I find it more effective lying down. Then take that same leg on the same side and cross it over the opposite ankle, and just stretch. I'm pulling the arm and reaching my heel away and feeling the side of my body just open up. I'm getting stretched all the way like through the hip, into the ribs, into the shoulder. And I will direct my breath now, so I'm just going to breathe and imagine that the breath is softening the tight areas. Feel where the tension is. Breathe into the side and let that tension just melt away. And you can stay here as long as you feel comfortable or as long as you feel you need to. For me, for this instance, let's change sides. I'm going to take my other wrist and just give that a pull and a stretch. And it's quite interesting because on this side, it feels good, but on this side I'm feeling it more in the shoulder, whereas on the other side I felt it more in the waist and the hips. So just pull, stretch, breathe. And if you close your eyes, maybe even melt and bring a little smile to the lips, you'll convince yourself that it's feeling good. That's wonderful. That feels great. I might actually just follow that up by pulling my knees in again and just having a little rock. You can mix and match. Just make it flow how you feel it needs to go. Tune into your intuition. Fantastic. Well, let's take advantage of being here on our backs right now and continue stretching the hips and the glutes out. All right, we get a lot of tension here, especially when we stand a lot during the day, or if you spend a lot of your day, it's funny enough, if you spend a lot of the day seated at a computer as well. So this is called a figure of four. I'm going to take one ankle across the knee and then simply rest. Now this might be enough for you. Might feel some tension here already. If not, you can start to push your hand into the knee and create even more stretch into the hip. And if you really like to turn it up a bit, take the hands, reach through, take the back of your thigh and hug that in, or hug even the shin in. Now, I'm going to pull that in towards me, and at the same time, I'm going to press my elbow to push the knee out and pull my toe back towards my knee. That makes this all active. So that's staying strong, protects my knee, and then allows me to just stretch a little further. And how far do we stretch? Well, you go to that point where it's not going to be the most comfortable place, but it's not painful either. You want to challenge yourself, but not overstretch. If we overstretch, there's always a chance that we can cause injury. So be kind. Be kind to yourselves. Just pull that in. Do a few breaths here. Man, I feel a beautiful stretch up through the side of my hip now. So I'll lower my leg down and I'll do the other side, because whatever you do on one side, we've of course got to balance on the other. So flexing the foot, initially pushing here or reaching through wherever you want to reach, and just relaxing into that stretch. And you may find one side's easier than the other. For me, it's this side. My right side is definitely more open than my left. And so therefore I might want to give my left a couple more breaths or a little more love and attention. But it's all good. Just do what you can, what feels good to you. And we just breathe and enjoy that stretch. All right, so lower my feet down again. And then I'm going to roll onto one side and come up to sit. Okay, so we move on. Next stretch. For me, I love the cat and cow as a movement for the spine, but also for a stretch of the whole of the body. And we can start to mix it up and combine it with a little hamstring stretch as well, which is coming later. So we come onto all fours and just begin by making a nice cat, like an angry cat shape, rounding your back, just stretch it out. Exhale. And as you inhale, broaden your collarbones, cross here, lift your head, and just arch back. Feel that lovely stretch through the front of the body, and then work through the spine, vertebra by vertebra, round it into a nice rounded cat stretch. You can move that forwards or backwards, wherever it needs to go. And we can do the same here. We'll do a couple more of these, just really feeling that movement through our spine. Breathe in as we move. And that's our cat and our cow, which can be a really great stretch, both for bringing breath into the movement, but also for moving the spine. And it's important to have a spine that moves. All right, so if we're thinking of stretching, we get the hamstrings involved a little bit here. And we'll go from this position to do it. Simply pressing up into what would be, I guess, like a downward dog in yoga, but the way I like it is to keep it moving. So we're just going to pedal out our heels, and it doesn't matter whether your legs go straight or not, or whether you manage to get your head down between your arms. You just hold whatever position feels good, and just work that. And you'll start to feel that stretch coming down the backs of the legs, and also into the hips as well. Stretch them out. We'll do a couple more of those. And then come back down to knees, and you can find maybe that child's pose position again, if that felt comfortable for you, just for a little bit of respite. Now, if you find that downward dog puts too much pressure on your hands and wrists, then another great way of accessing it is by using a chair. You can use the seat of the chair or the back of the chair. And it's simply the same thing. You get that same shoulder stretch, the same body position actually, just without the weight on the hands, with a different relationship to gravity. And we can just pedal out the backs of our legs. Really sink into the stretch, stretching the back, stretching the shoulders, stretching our legs. You can walk it back a little more, or forward a little more, whatever you need. And you can even add in here the cat and the cow. Here we go from here to a round back, and then an arch back, and a round back. One more time. Let's arch it back, and a round back. And that feels great. And that's using the chair to support the stretch and take the stretch a little deeper. Now, a good way to think about stretching, if you want to make sure that you're getting all the range of movement in there that you need, going back to what I was saying about keeping it balanced, is to think of the whole body. And this is what one of my fantastic teachers once told me. Think of it as movement food groups, right? Have you moved with all the food groups in mind? So we've done a little bit of flexion, we've done the rounding, we've done a bit of extension because we've done some arching. We've done this lateral stretch, lateral flexion, by reaching into our banana stretch. So what's missing here? Well, what would be missing would be rotation, a little bit of a twist. And here's a great twist for us. You can sit, we could be sat on the chair that you had here earlier as well. Whatever allows you to sit and keep both your sit bones down and your spine tall and up. If this feels tight here, just sit up on a block. And spread your fingers wide in prayer position. Place your thumb on your sternum, forefinger under your chin. That keeps the head, shoulders together, and we're going to make the rotation happen in the trunk because of this. So keep these glued here. Take an inhale, grow tall. Exhale, and that's where the twist happens. And then inhale back through the center, exhale and twist, inhale back through the center. So all my twist is happening here through the torso rather than just moving my head. Let's do a couple more of those. So the breathing really helps. So inhale up, exhale and twist, breathe it all out, inhale center, exhale twist, breathe it all out. Let's go one more each way. Breathe it out. Inhale center, grow tall, exhale twist. Inhale center. I'm just going to place my hands behind me. Just take a little inhale here. Let that stretch happen. And then take that to wherever we need to take it. So if you feel like that's got you prepped for the day, get up on your feet and go get it. If I feel that that's relaxed you enough for the end of the day, then why not lie down and take Shavasana for a bit, for a few breaths, and just let the body just melt and relax. I'm taking it down to the mat. I'm feeling pretty relaxed. So I'm just going to lower myself back. You're welcome to join me. And I'm going to take a few breaths here. Just breathe in, letting the body reintegrate. Letting all those muscles soften that you've just stretched. I'm feeling good, and I've increased my range maybe in movement, and also I'm maybe avoiding some injury that might be ahead of me for the rest of the day. Thank you for joining me, and I hope this has helped you and maybe reduces some of that inflammation, a little bit of tension, and maybe takes you away from pain and keeps you injury free. So have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here again soon. Take care.